two-time Emmy Award nominee Sydney Sweeney, whose new film is the HBO original Reality. This is a great performance, and the film is really great and totally different from stuff you've done previously. So I guess just to start, was that something you were intentionally looking for, I guess, to take on like this kind of role?
I definitely am always searching for characters that I haven't done before or challenge me in new ways than previous ones have. So when reality came across my table, I was very much drawn to it because of the challenge and just the script itself. It was just a complete different thing than I've ever seen before.
So you mentioned that, like, I mean, obviously, like once it gets in the interrogation room, it's almost like one scene, basically, right? And it's got, I mean, like, I guess, and you have to go through so many different emotions and a lot of stuff that's not being said and very nuanced. I guess, like, how does that affect your performance, and had you kind of like calibrate it to make sure you're, hitting all those beats?
So you were right. Once we got into that room, we were there, and it was basically one scene. And Tina did such an amazing job at flawlessly finding places to be able to cut because we couldn't film all of that in one day. We filmed the whole movie in 16 days. And so we were having like 10, 15 pages per day to film. And you kind of just start to feel the weight and the gravity of the situation as the walls slowly come closer and closer in as you're filming, because we film most of it in order.
Did you have like a lot of like rehearsal time at all or anything? I know, or no, nothing, right?
No, we just dove right into it. It was crazy.
I know you've talked like in the past about like when you're like for Cassie on Euphoria and stuff, you did like character Bibles or whatever, right? And you write like a lot of stuff. So this is obviously playing Reality Winner, a real person. So there's like a decent amount of like real life info. But I guess like how did that aspect of your preparation process inform, I guess, playing a real person? Or like how did you kind of like balance that out?
It was interesting. I wanted to find a mixture of the two because I wanted to, of course, learn as much as I possibly could about reality. And I got to speak with her, and I Zoomed with her, and I would text with her. And I knew the box within what her life was and her memories, and as much as I could learn from her. And then I took all of that knowledge and I put it into my books, and I just expanded it from there so that I had it more fleshed out.
Right. Did you have like, I guess, what when you talked to her, what was like something, I guess, surprising, or maybe even that you were like, oh, I didn't even think of that aspect of this situation and stuff?
That she's funny. She has quite an interesting sense of humor about herself. And so once I learned that and I got to know her and I reread the transcript and the script, I saw so much of that in there that I didn't see before.
Have you talked to her since? Has she like seen the finished film? I guess, or do you know what she?
She supports the film. I think it would be really hard to relive a moment like this,
Mhm.
but her sister and her mom were at the premiere in Berlin and they watched the movie.
Nice, that's cool.
Yeah.
One of the things I was thinking too of like, and I guess how like thinking of this for your performance. So much of it, like especially like once you're in the interrogation room, is like just a bunch of like men being very patronizing and kind of like just like mansplaining a lot of times, and then you have to like as reality, it's like you're kind of obviously probably very frustrated and very nervous and all these different things, but you kind of have to hide all of that. And again, like it's very nuanced, and I just found it like really kind of like what's going on behind like you're not saying a lot of probably how you're feeling. And I guess like how was that? I just found that like it's like remarkably well done, and I just love
Thank
that about the
you.
performance. And I guess like how did you kind of like I'm sure like that's probably like experience you maybe would have in like real life just as being a young woman, but also like in general, like how did you kind of figure it like that all aspect of it out? Because I found that like really great, and like how you kind of like yeah show that frustration without showing that frustration, I guess.
Well, thank you. There were so many complex layers to navigate throughout that entire interrogation because she, the entire time, was trying to figure out what do they know? How much information should I share? And can I trust these men? And it was this dance that she kept playing in her mind and having a character that is internally going through so much in such a very high stakes situation is is a great fun thing to explore because there's not just one note to something. There's 50 thoughts behind one word that she might say.
Right. And the other thing is that she's obviously incredibly intelligent, right? And I feel like I feel like a lot of, and maybe I'm reading into it, watching it, but I was like, I felt like they're like underestimating how smart she is too, right? Like I feel like a lot of times, and like how obviously she's like in her field incredibly accomplished. And like, I don't know if they took her very seriously. I just found all of that like really kind of like just very interesting as a viewer. I just thought it was really great.
Well, Josh and Marchand did such an amazing job at what they did with their performances. I mean, I was completely blown away, and I would not have been able to do what I did without them and without being able to play opposite them.
Did you guys like within the like, so I guess like you said, like doing like 10 pages of dialogue a day or whatever it was, like is that like, I don't know, like are you hitting like are you like how much of all your performances are changing like after like the like later, like later in the shoot versus like in the beginning, and did you feel like you kind of really got into a groove as it moved on, even in that short amount of time, I guess?
We did. We would just sit there and run our lines as much as we possibly could because we wanted to make sure that we were getting every diction correct. And then when we were in the scene, it was such an intimate experience, and we were just observing and listening and watching each other as much as we possibly could. And so every take there might be something different because we were learning something new from our scene partner.
Yeah, it's a great. It is a great actors listening movie, obviously too, because you guys there's so much dialogue and everybody's gotta like listen. I know this is obviously Tina, based on Tina's play, and then like how is she? I guess for you working with her as a director and like kind of like working together to create this performance.
It was great. I mean, she is so connected and close with this material because she's had it for so long, and she is super close with Reality's family. So it's always nice to have a filmmaker who you feel how important and how meaningful this is to them. And she wanted to make sure she got every detail correct, whether she texted pictures of the bumper stickers or the bedspread to Reality, and she's like, no, would be what was actually on my car, or this is the bedspread that I actually had on my bed. And so she paid attention to every detail, and I love filmmakers that are like that.
Yeah. Do you have like, I guess like, I gotta say, like I obviously knew about this story, but like kind of like I felt like a dummy because I didn't know that much about it, I guess. Like, and I guess like for you, like what did you take away from this, I guess, that you kind of like maybe learned, for lack of a better word, or just whatever, before, like like having done the film and playing Reality, that you didn't really think of or know before?
Well, I didn't know about Reality going into it either. I was all a learning curve for me, and I think my biggest, especially doing a movie where we truly dive into a person's real experience and not diving into what is wrong or right or left or it's just, I think that I learned that there's a human experience behind every headline.
Right.
And I hope that people watch this and they see a person and they see a moment in someone's life that changed them forever.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really great. I was watching it. I was just like, I'm like, you generate so much empathy for her, like you said, and like beyond like politics or just as a person, and especially how, and I know probably, in real life you have like a dog that you love, but I was like the way she is so like just so worried about her pet, her dog, and just all of that was like really moving to me, I guess. And I just found that like it makes it like really, like it's like heartbreaking at times too, because she's just so concerned with the well-being of her pet. And I was like, oh, this is really humanizing and stuff. And I guess like I said, like I know you have like a beloved animal as well, so I imagine that was probably easy for you. But like, I mean, like, was that something that you guys connected with too, I guess, in real life when you talked?
We definitely did talk about our love for our pets, and Tank might have popped in on our Zoom because Tank's always with me. So being able to film with the dog, the love was there.
Yeah, I think you could tell it was really
Yeah, the love was there.
You mentioned like how this is like, yeah, like you're always looking for some new challenges and stuff. I think like I said, I think this is a really great performance. I guess like, what were you able to learn from this that you're like, oh, I will like love to kind of take to the next performances, or even if like I know you're doing like a lot of different things, but like so maybe you haven't gotten a chance to like flex some of the stuff you maybe took away from this in those projects. But I guess in general, like what are you hoping, or what do you like will like remember and like take out of this as an actor to bring to your next stuff?
It's really it's a different muscle playing someone who is real. And I definitely loved that. And I think that I'd really enjoy finding another character that's based off of a real person and diving into the research on that person.
Yeah. And I guess last thing, I know you're doing, like I said, you're doing so many different projects. I know you have like Echo Valley with Julianne Moore that I think you're doing now. And I'm only bringing it up because I was like, I liked season 2 Euphoria, like you were like peak Julianne Moore in Magnolia performance. I just found it so great. So the fact that you're together with Julianne Moore in another thing is very exciting to me, I guess. I guess like for you, like how's it been, like working with her in that? And I just think that's like a great, I'm very excited about that project. Let's just say so.
It's been amazing. We just finished our first week last night. I wrapped at 1 a.m. And Julianne's just such an incredible actress to work alongside of. I mean, and she's so talented, and she is one of the sweetest people I've ever met. She's so kind, and she's just super sweet and happy, and I love working with her, and I'm so excited for this movie. It's dark and it's crazy, and you're going to love it. You're probably going to love it.
Sure, I will, because I love
Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney, reality debuts Monday, May 29th at 10 on HBO and will be available to stream on Max. It's a great film, and your performance is incredible. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.